Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, welcome back to the Ultimate Speedrunning Championship. I'm accompanied once again by my co-commentator, Shemp. Shemp, how are you doing? You look a bit green under the gills here, fella.
Yeah, a little under the weather right now, but I think I'm going to get through it, Maybe give it another run or two, I'll feel better.
Got you. Well, we got one coming up, and let me tell you, it's a hot and spicy one.
Oh, yeah.
In fact, we got a couple different flavors playing in this one. In fact, we got Ashriel and Composer doing two-player, one-controller, Vortex, which, if you know anything about that category, this probably shouldn't be possible, but
they'll make it work.
So we're going to transition on over to them. However, before we do, I want to remind you that today we are looking to support the Able Gamers Foundation. I want to keep reiterating. I'm going to sing it till the cows come home, really. We want to support them because ultimately that is something that we all really care about, is making gaming accessible for literally everyone and anyone who possibly wants to play games. It's something that should be for everyone. So if you want to support it, check out the links down below for either the merch or the donations. You can also do !donate in chat to get a link direct to it, and or !merch to check out the merch store where the proceeds will be going towards the Able Gamers Foundation. That being said, let's transition on over to our runners.
Hey. So we're going to be doing two-player, one-controller Vortex. If you don't know what Vortex is, it's a miscellaneous category for Spyro 1 where we're going to be going to the end of every level and exiting them end-of-level Vortexes. And it's more of the trick category of this game, so it's going to be interesting, us doing it with like this. So, timing starts on fade in. Y'all already know that. Why am I saying it?
All right. Timing, as I said, will start on fade in. We will not miss that. I'm currently keeping an eye out to make sure we don't miss that.
Okay, rolling. Oh, it's been peaceful.
Wait, just be ready to start the timer here in a sec. So as Composer said, Vortex is kind of the trick category, whereas a lot of Spyro 1 is very heavily focused on things like pure movement. Vortex is kind of the exception to that, because while you do need good movement to, do it really well, a lot of it leans on the idea of tricks. However, Stonehill, probably one of the hardest splits in the entire run, because of the first trick of the run being code that they just did, actually.
And it was beautiful at that.
It was gorgeous.
Especially on two-player, one controller. You gotta remember, the code is on both sides of the controller, so they had to alternate between the two of them.
Yep. And just generally speaking, if you're running Vortex, doing it too fast is the bane of your existence, because half the time you'll miss it unless you're Composer or Ash, Riel. Fortunately, they are. Yeah.
Sure.
Playing in Town Square, we actually have our first real trick of the run, I would say, which is just a cool little jump, which we're going to see them perform here in a moment. How are you guys feeling about, are there any tricks in particular we want to keep an eye out for?
Right dog actually has been a little bit of an issue because we do it differently, and same with Wizard Proxy. So even though those aren't like the hardest tricks in the world, we just do them very differently.
Yeah, that's a lot of, I think, what the challenge of 2P1C really is that variability in how you maybe perform things slightly different. I really wonder how that's gonna boil out for tricks. First of which being Dog Proxy, which is coming up right here. We'll see how this goes. Earlier today, at the beginning of the day, we actually saw a regular Vortex run from Tex, where they actually hit this, which was pretty dope. Ooh, that's just enough height to get us into the Vortex.
Let's go.
Barely
Let's go a little far back.
Yeah.
Pretty textbook, pretty great artisan so far. This is probably end up being like a low 240, as long as Dark Hollow permits it. We don't free a dragon.
You can only hope.
Okay, nice skitters up the hill. Heading on into the Dark Hollow.
Most of these levels in Artisans are pretty straightforward, even for two players on one controller. It's kind of just run from the start to the end, with the exception of Toasty. Once we get to the next homeworld, I'm not sure what homeworld order they're going to be doing, but whichever one comes next.
And just to keep everyone watching in the loop, the layout we currently have set up for it is, it looks like Ash is on the buttons, aka X, square, triangle, and circle, as well as the pause menu, and Composer is looking like he's on the directional inputs.
Yes, that is right.
This is the same format they actually did their runs on last year during Spyro Sleepover, and I believe they got a 22. Was it a high 22?
Yes.
22 4x or 5x, something like that.
Yeah.
Which is better than my PB, as one person, if you're wondering.
And I think they're going to be on pace to beat it again because they've been practicing a little bit. There's been some new stuff that I think they might be going for since last year.
Yep.
Pretty good odds they do better.
Yep. I'm also a big fan of the Magic Crafters first strat. It not only allows you to kind of fill out your run, especially in a reset list, which a marathon run is a reset list, right?
Right.
It lets you kind of get into 2-co early, and also primes you with some of the tricks that I think, especially Composer, is going to excel at. I know he's probably at least 50-60% on Fish Ladder, I would say.
I think I've heard him say 70.
Yeah. So we're gonna see how this runs out. Ooh, hook not good, unfortunately. Go for it again, it looks like. Primed up, we're ready. Call it Amazon. Not a bad hook. Head into the wall. Ooh, a little bit of the flobbage. That's tough. Ooh, third time. Okay, I like it. A lot of pride in the line with this trick. Not a bad hook, not the best hook. Not enough though.
One time. We've been closer. One more time.
Alright, looks like one more time.
For it again.
The hook is just not one to cooperate, folks. Sometimes it just happens.
Yeah, you really need to get like a really high initial wall glide at the start of this, or else it's just not possible. So.
Yep. Looks like we're in the 9 on live scope because we're not. Ooh, we're continuing. Never mind. All right. Beautiful starting jump. Okay. All right. We're just gonna keep going. We're not gonna talk about it. Fun fact: that wall breaks are reignited. Laura, quick laugh. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. So Alpine Ridge, if you're just kind of running through it, that jump is the main real trick that you do. You can technically jump on top of the wall that lowers and raises if you're a little bit slow to the cycle. That's kind of a trick in a way, but not really. In quite the same way Fish Ladder is. Now moving into high caves, I actually happen to know that Ashriel is the #1 high caves player in the world today. Specifically the Vortex version. Any percent, sometimes.
Akbar told me that when they first started playing this category, they ran through this level for hours.
Yeah, this was the first level that I practiced just to learn Spyro's movement. Learn how to hold straight lines and stuff.
I see it's been paying off. Looking pretty good. But you're not even on directions. Composer, you're looking pretty good.
Hey, listen, pressing square is hard work.
That's true. X sometimes too, you know? It's complicated.
Yes. Turning on home, there is a little trick coming up here where we're going to be kind of catching on the scenery. And we're going to try to ramp up off of it. And that look, ooh.
Just caught the lip.
Yep, caught the lip a little bit. We wanted to get into Wizard Peak a little bit earlier. That's not too bad though, only a couple seconds lost to that. We are going to see a kind of mimic of that same strat. But this one saves a bit more. Coming up here in a second in the level itself. The split, I think, is this the only split where you kind of have this type of movement? I know you do in Twilight now.
What, like a wall launch?
Yeah, like a Stone Nut-esque type thing.
It might be.
Yep.
I can't think of any others off the top.
Yeah, I was struggling to think of it while watching Vortex earlier. Oh, wait, we're watching Vortex now.
Right.
Anyway.
So they didn't get
Nice.
the ramp launch, but they did go for like a damage boost backup, which is almost as fast. Not a big deal.
Mm-hmm. And the way that the damage boost there works is Spyro conserves momentum. So like when you bonk into it with supercharge, and then you get hit rapidly right after by the enemy, it launches you up just enough to get you over that first level. And then you can run around to the upper level to get into the Vortex.
And we're going to be seeing the same kind of damage boost abuse for Blowhard right here. So they're going to try and line this up very particularly, and then charge into the wall, and then immediately take the damage. And that will redirect the momentum from the charge, like, into the wall, and kind of slope them upwards to get right over. Beautifully done.
Yep. Textbook Blowhard, absolutely stellar. And hopping on into the end of the section. Fortunately, we don't have to fight Blowhard.
We do have to fight Tuco.
Fight Tuco. That's actually the boss fight of Vortex, to
It
be
really
honest.
is.
Which we actually saw first try Clifftown. However, considering both runners' luck with Tuco that I've seen, this is gonna probably be at least 45th try, I would say. Oh, first try,
all
Cliff
right.
again. See, I had to say something else that way it would give us what we actually wanted. Gorgeous, wonderful.
Give it up for Tuco for putting in work this marathon, you know?
Dude, yeah, listen, he showed up.
Yeah.
At least someone did. Right, champ?
Yeah.
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 Glad you're here, Shep.
Yeah. Glad to be
Um,
here.
So, Clifftown, I think they're going to go for a handful of strats, one of which fairly new, one of which discovered because I bailed out of a race, because I'm a great person and friend, and I definitely didn't just really want to sleep that night. Are we going to see the box flop? Oh, so close. So, that's a very particular spot where that tech is available. We've been kind of labbing out to see if there's any other spots where that type of idea could work. But the basic premise is because you're underneath those boxes and you jump kind of into a slot where you're not really supposed to go, it launches Spyro upwards to kind of get him out of that space. And as such, you can kind of get up onto that upper level. Speaking of upper levels, you want to talk about massive dry skip?
Yeah, that's what it means. Yeah. So, the way the skip is going to work is they're going to very precisely position along these chests with like a visual cue to run after this thief and get him to run the right way. And they're going to glide into him between him and the wall here. And if they do it right, they're going to get launched like that. Okay, a little low, but still able to make it up. And now with a jump charge into a roll, they will... Ooh, nice.
Oh, wow.
They were able to transition the momentum from the jump charge with the roll against the wall to launch them up just barely to the vortex. That one was really close.
Yep.
Still made it work.
Also, I do want to comment on the wall glide portion of that. That's a really big skill to develop in this game, I would say, just across the boards. Both runners excellent at wall gliding, just generally speaking. That one, I will say, I find really, really hard to recover when you get a lower MDS. So, now we're going to see Shem, which is a frame-perfect input. They did mention that this was one of the harder tricks, I believe, or was that Laura? I can't remember. But
Nice. Good job.
it's a frame-perfect input.
This shouldn't be too much harder on two-player one controller because once you're in the position, you're just waiting for an express. But like we said, it's frame perfect, and they are on an unfamiliar setup, so you know.
Yeah, you are right. It is basically we're transitioning back and forth between my part and their part.
Right.
Yeah, MDS we weren't really expecting to hit MDS.
Yeah.
That was definitely the hard one.
Yeah, MDS is definitely way more of a word coordinating kind of thing.
All right, will this be the first time I've ever seen Ashriel hit Ice Cavern Wall Glide? Oh my, it might be.
Ash, how could you?
Finally
Traitor.
switching over to the dark side. For context, that trick saves about 0.3 seconds according to Ash's retiming, and 0.8 according to other retimings. All semantic. It's a trick. It looks cool. We're going to Gosnold, and we're going to move on. My voice is leaving me very rapidly. Like this run is leaving rapidly. If you guys do enjoy it, make sure to check out both the runners. You can see their links in the title. They're both excellent at this game, at this category, and just great and awesome. That's it.
Yeah, so this is one of the tricks that with one player is quite easy, but because of that, we have quite different setups. And so tricks that are harder, we actually find easier on two players, one controller, in comparison to tricks that can be hit in multiple ways, because we may do it completely different from each other and not realize. So if we hit this. Nice.
That's only half of it. They got a little bit more to go.
Yep. I will say the second half I think is a bit easier.
It should be.
On 2P1C at least, comparatively to Wizard Proxy, which is a fairly precise trick, which, as I mentioned, multiple setups.
Whoa, no!
Is that an auto jump?
I think it was maybe just bad.
I think there was.
I don't know. It was just bad. It was just bad.
Honestly, respectable. It happens. Alright, well, we got a Wizard Proxy. It's not a vertical one, unfortunately. We're heading over for a kiss from a fairy.
That's unfortunate too, because Wizard Proxy is definitely the hard part here, and we're a lot more consistent at the turnaround. But
100%.
that's just how it goes sometimes.
Yeah, it's like they were saying earlier. Like tricks that tend to be like considered easier in Vortex are usually that way because they have multiple setups, and so different runners will do it different ways, which is fine when you're just doing a run yourself. But when you have to do it as a half of like a whole with two runners, you know, it could mean you do it like.
Ooh.
That time it was me. That was just an early express.
I will say Tuco hasn't been mean, but Haunted Towers' marathon has been very, very mean. Just generally speaking, between your 120 run,
Oh yeah.
you couldn't like do the turnaround for a moment on that controller.
Wait, what do you mean my run? Toasted Captain.
Oh yeah, my bad.
I'm sure.
Yeah, Haunted Towers is cursed this marathon, I guess.
What's up, Toasted Cat?
Sorry.
Yeah. Play Reignited, nerd.
Okay.
Gotcha. Nice. This is turning into one of the haunted towers of all time, I would say.
Four.
All right. One more time for the fans. We wanted to showcase this level because it does have, in fact, the prettiest skybox and one of the best soundtracks.
Why did? That's crazy. Crazy.
Dude, just go the slow way. One more time.
We can bet for sure.
We had no trouble with
Yeah,
this.
straight up.
Like,
We
yeah.
did every single time. Always in a marathon.
Yep.
Happens.
It do be like that sometime, as they say. At least you guys are hitting Wizard Proxy quite a bit.
Again?
Yep.
Little shock for good luck, surely that's the difference.
That shock was for good luck from the Wizard, actually. That was Composer's brother.
Your fingers fail. Like a horse.
Right. First jump's good.
There we
Second
go.
jump's good.
There we
And
go.
third is even better.
Yay!
Yep.
Certainly not the best run we've ever done so far.
You know, that's not being a marathon.
I will say also, just to reiterate actually something that Valafor in chat said, it's insane legit. 2 people using 1 controllers and they can do some crazy stuff. I'm not even joking. Doing it as 1 person is hard enough.
Yeah.
Having to try to sync up your thoughts and how you play the game with how another person plays is insane. And I'm actually really scared for when myself and Toasted Cat have to play Reignited later on in day 4 in a 2P1C, which we've never done before. These 2 have actually practiced. So, you know. A quick shot here, slash passage boost rather, I should say. Ooh. Ooh, just barely not enough height. Not bad though, we can just go straight back for it. We do have a couple fodder here that help our sparks out in case we need them. Oh my god, so close.
Oh, and then the death.
Was that a flop?
The
or
death,
did
you, when you get caught on that, it's very easy to flop and fall out. Not a
Just
huge
like
deal.
flop
We're
on
just
that.
gonna run back to the spot. Right. Going for it again, lining back up. This trick requires not only a precise input timing, but also a precise line up.
Yeah, they're getting the height. They're just a little bit off with their angle, I think. So they're just not getting quite the height.
That's
That
a
should
good
be
one.
better. There it is.
Yep. We don't need hot dog McTwist here.
The way out.
All right, and now for the last 2 levels in Dreamweavers, we're looking at kind of a movement exhibition. If you guys want to see what clean movement looks like, either of these runners can perform it individually. And considering the lines you take are very similar, if not the same,
Where are they at?
maybe I spoke too soon.
No, this is a great showing of the move.
Yep.
You know.
But no,
Usually those mushrooms just get in the way when you're trying to get in, and
Yeah.
the one time we actually need them, they're just like, fuck off.
That is the other thing too about 2-player 1 controllers. Not only are you like, you know, doing half of the run relying on the other person to do the same thing, but if you ever go off script, you know, that makes it infinitely harder because different people are going to react and
as mentioned, this is mostly a movement exhibition level. This end, Jacques up, gonna flame out the mushroom.
I
Only
don't think that'll
one
work. Okay.
that could still make for Turkey Vader. That makes, yep.
There you go.
That was a
Gorgeous
weird one.
job.
That was
I can't believe that worked. Good.
And like Dylan was saying, Jacques, nothing too fancy. Oh.
Let's see Miss Free!
Thank you for releasing me!
Worst dragon in the game, by the way.
Yeah, the actual. I'm not.
I'll just say the.
Watch the end credits.
Yeah,
Watch the end credits if you want to know the crimes Latifah's committed.
Yeah.
That's all I gotta say.
All right, we're finally confronting Jock, who I previously mentioned earlier. I used to call Jaquez. Toasted Cat, who's not here right now, can attest to that. Right, Toasted Cat?
Just go
cat?
this way, just go this way.
Toasted Cat's dead.
He's not paying attention.
He passed away. Anyway, Shep, thank God you're here.
Yeah, I'm really glad to be here.
Bruh.
I'm Shep.
It's okay.
Everything they can.
So, Jacques, this later
Yeah.
performance.
we hit MBS, which we didn't expect to, and then everything that we did expect to hit has been terrible.
Yeah, that's what's funny about this round. Pretty much everything we usually hit, we're not, and the hard things that we're usually done, we are.
I was so ready for this to be like super impressive, and this has just been like awful. Oh, you just...
It is a thing. I think we're smooth.
Okay, well, surely since we're hitting things that we're not expecting to, we'll just go for biscuit, right?
For sure.
Like not practice at all, but we'll hit biscuit.
The run's been a little rough, but the only thing you didn't hit eventually was fish ladder, I believe. Right? Everything else has been shown off at least.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Except Superman.
Right? They didn't go for it.
Abandoned Superman.
Abandoned.
Left on Krypton.
This would have never let me get away with that.
Oh, that's right.
To be fair, Superman on 2v1c does not seem possible.
Yeah, that's.
Or viable, I should say. Alright.
So we're going into our last homeworld before the final boss homeworld.
Mm-hmm.
But this homeworld definitely, in my opinion, has some of the hardest tricks, if not the hardest tricks in the.
Yeah, no, absolutely. The first of which actually in this level, which Ash has a very deep, slumbering affinity for. It is the name Biscuit that strikes fear into the hearts of mortals, but not Ash. As a give me just 1 second, folks. I'm getting where we got a donation in. We're gonna see them go for the backup Terry boost. I'm gonna keep an eye out for this. I'll read that off as soon as we hop into the Vortex. Gorgeous Terry boost, textbook even, and nice. Just head right to the return home portal. So we have a $24 donation from Concubino. Their comment is, shouts to my fishies at the anchovy community. And or less than simple heart, or 3. Less than 3. Love you all. Much love to runners, and let's vort that text. And it looks
They're doing what,
like,
the text, huh?
hey, you know what I'm saying. They also put their donation towards Team Fawn Bags. Team Fawn Bags actually on the up and up lately. I hate to say it.
They're recovering slowly.
They also requested that the commentators swap seats. Shep,
I guess so.
we swapped seats.
Yeah.
Yes, and
We're at 1900 even. Yeah, so only $100. I think we have plenty of time to make that and a bit more. We have a lot of runs still.
yeah, and not only do we have runs, but we have the Spyro Championship races. They're for all the marbles. They're from some of the best runners of each of the games, and even Shemp.
Toast the cat, why are you looking at us like that?
No reason. God, I can't wait to be over there someday.
I'm sorry.
Terminal.
Maybe a little later because I thought we were a little low.
Anyway, gorgeous little treetops, wall glide, or not wall glide, charge glide. Friend's not working.
You got there. It's fine. So we've kind of glossed over the last 2 levels. There was nothing really impressive going on there. Just normal movement for the most part.
Yep.
Yeah, it
Wow.
was pretty terrible, actually,
Misty Bog, generally speaking, is not a level. It's just turn right and
Yeah,
then
you
go.
just go to the end.
Yep. And then treetops is you just jump down left and then you do a cool little semi-precise charge glide. It's definitely a messable trick, but like it's one of the ones where once you have it down, like these two have it, I'm confident they will never miss it. Surprised that considering Composer is Composer, they didn't go for either Banana Boy or wall glide strats there.
I imagine Banana Boy is not very.
It would have been too hard to coordinate
Yeah,
with
it's not very
Yeah.
team
that
playing with
kind of stuff for sure.
Well, I could imagine Banana Boy. I thought Ash, do you
Some
do
charge rolls.
do you do
are
wall, do
pretty
you do
hard.
just regular wall glide, Ash?
No, I go for bowling.
You do go for bowling now, yeah.
My PB doesn't have it now. That's the one thing my PB missed was bowling.
Gotcha.
And bowling does make sense because it's a trick where if you mess it up, you can very easily recover and go to the route that doesn't do it. So, you know, in a marathon setting especially, makes sense.
Just like that, folks, we're coming dangerously close to the end of the run as we head into Nasty's world. They get your final home world, where timing does end on defeating Nasty Nork as arguably the hardest boss fight in all of video games
Probably.
ever in history.
I can't think of any other.
And ever.
Yeah.
Alright, so first and foremost, we are going to free Delbin. Thank you for releasing me! That's actually a required one that you need to release, but I like doing that because of Sculpture. I wish Sculpture were here. I love you, Sculpture. Anyway, North Cove. Got me up. So North Cove is famed for either what's called TNT Teamwork or Berry Boost, where we're gonna get a nice little throw up. You basically land on the TNT and get thrown up
I don't think so.
by Berry. Ooh, beautiful catch there. Keep it up, Blue Sparks. Crucially on Blue Sparks. Now I'm confident that Composer probably will be able to land the wall glide here.
I had to just like remember.
There's a little cut through this level that you can take through the water, and you can get through it with only taking one hit, but sometimes you can mess it up and it takes... They're safe no matter what. They should be. Although this level is still dangerous. You can just take a straight hit. So, have to see.
Gonna see them go for that wall glide now. Very
That was
nice.
easy.
Keeping up with green sparks, that's wonderful. And here, I believe,
They
I
should
want
be
to say
going-
they're going to be going for the new Twilight Harbor strat. Composer seems to be fairly consistent as he's on the buttons, and they land it.
There's just a little spot there at the bottom of that mountain that was found very recently. That's the most recent trick found for Vortex. And you are able to just land for like a few frames, and if you jump at the right time, you're able to get just enough height to make it.
Yep. That was actually incredible. It was also a nice find, just generally speaking, because as far as from what I've heard from everyone who's learned it so far, it is a lot more manageable to like learn and do than the older strats we used to do, which
And
you know,
slightly faster.
Yep.
But shout outs to Forlo.
pour one out for Forlo.
Rest in peace.
Speaking of pouring one out, time is running out here on this run. Running into the first section of the Nasty Chase.
The hardest boss fight in video.
Hardest boss fight in video games. That exactly is why you can bonk on him like that, you know, that's rough. So ideally, you want to stay ahead of Nasty, but not too far ahead of Nasty. You want to be right where they are right now. You want to keep right ahead of him, just so he pushes you along and you keep him rubber banding at the fastest speed possible. Then you're gonna early flame him, get a nice push towards the door and into the lava room. So here we have a little bit of platforming left to do. And as long as nothing goes awry, we should be coming up on time here in just a moment. Ooh, a little bit of bonker just fine, and time!
What was the final time?
It had to have been like a 27.
What was the time?
Ganasty Ganor.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. Hickey.
Yeah, not our greatest run, but mainly haunted.
Yeah.
I was hyping
We
up
gotta
a big
chop all the
with the
trick stuff.
22 and they got a 26, so, you know.
Dude, it could be worse.
Very disappointed.
I'm glad we got MDS because we weren't expecting
was
it.
cool. That
That's,
was good.
Yeah,
yeah,
MDS
that's
is
not
the trick
easy.
we had yet to hit in a run. That was our first time.
Yeah. So overall, I mean, outside of Haunted, how do you feel about the run, felt?
It was really just haunted. Like, sure, we didn't get fish ladder, but haunted probably was
Yeah.
where 4 minutes was.
I'm disappointed we didn't get fish ladder because we were like almost 50% with that like in practice. So
That's why we went for it so many times. Yeah.
yeah, but you know, it is what it is. It's a no reset.
A different setup, closer to the
happens.
TV.
Yeah.
So many different things.
Yeah. So like, whole new setup, came in, put out a great run, showed us a lot of dope tricks. Ashriel and Composer, everybody. That was awesome. All right, real quick. Once again, I just want to shout out the charity we're all here for just one more quick time before we head into a brief intermission to get set up for our next run, which is going to be less of a run, more of a cool showcase. So being that myself and Shemp here are really, really excited to show off to all of you, we have a bit of an
forgot I had
awesome
the mic on.
glide showcase. But you know what glide is? give us a second. Let us talk to you, and we'll show you.
Give us an hour. You'll figure out what it is.
So stay tuned, sit back, relax, and we'll catch you in a minute.
I'm Shep.
Hi, Shep.